Good morning. Today is May 22nd. God appeared unto Solomon and said unto him, Ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said unto God, Give me now wisdom and knowledge. 2 Chronicles chapter 1, verses 7 through 10. When God offered Solomon any gift he desired, he could have asked for long life, power over his enemies, or vast riches. Instead, the king asked for an understanding heart to judge Israel, a compassionate heart that opened the door to wisdom. If God offered you the same gift, what would you ask for? Fame, fortune, happiness, health. The wisdom of Solomon's request teaches us much about life and learning and living. Wisdom is a product of heartfelt concern for others. True joy comes from reaching out to others in love and empathy. After all, what can we ever really know of another's fears, frustrations, and disappointments? How can we become sensitive to others if we haven't looked into their hearts and sought for deeper understanding? In our own moments of sorrow, is anything needed more than the compassion that opens one's heart to another? Indeed, the legendary wisdom of Solomon comes from an understanding heart. What would you ask for? What would I ask for? I don't know. Maybe charity? Empathy for my fellow man? I don't have much of that. I get frustrated quite easily. Okay. Today is Deuteronomy, chapter 30 and 34. So we're skipping quite a bit, but So in chapter 30, the scattered Israel will be gathered from all nations when they remember the covenant. Moses places life or death, blessings or cursings before the people. That's basically all that happens in 30. And then in 34, Moses sees the promised land and is taken by the Lord. Joshua leads Israel. Moses was Israel's greatest prophet. So the Lord shows Moses the land that he has promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but he says you can't go in, and then he dies, and then Joshua becomes the prophet of the Lord. So, what's in the books? What do we have to say about these chapters? We jump right over chapter 29 and 30. And we go 31, 32, 33, and 34. There's something about 34 in the Ludlow. The statements in the Bible concerning the death of Moses are confusing, both here and in Jude, verse 9. The Book of Mormon makes it clear that Moses was translated, as was Elijah. This is also made clear in the Joseph Smith translation, Deuteronomy 34:6. For the Lord took him unto his fathers in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor. Therefore no man knoweth of his sepulchre unto this day. Josephus claims that when Moses left the children of Israel, he was accompanied by the Senate and Eleazar and Joshua. After the Senate left, Moses was going to embrace Eleazar and Joshua, and was still talking with them when a cloud stood over him and he disappeared. This disappearance on the part of Moses has been compared with the disappearance of Elijah, as recorded in 2 Kings 2:11. Both Moses and Elijah appear as translated beings on the Mount of Transfiguration in New Testament times, Matthew 17:3, and as resurrected beings in the Kirtland Temple on April 3rd, 1836. So there's that. And that's the end of Deuteronomy. Let's see. Let's see here. What do we have? 32, chapter 32. 32. So then, I guess just in this book, it ends at 32, this side by side. It doesn't go on to 33 or 34, but it does give a summary of precepts and principles for Deuteronomy. The great agency of change is the purifying, ennobling influence of the Holy Spirit of God in our lives. Therefore, our every thought and deed should be aligned with the aspiration of creating a positive spiritual environment in our homes and communities where the Spirit can touch our lives with truth and reinforce our fervent desire to do good. Moses taught a comprehensive program of spiritual redemption centered on the coming atonement of Jesus Christ. The program can be summarized in 4 steps. 1. Honor the covenant through obedience to the gospel principles. 2. Avoid pride and destructive self-righteousness. 3. Defend against unrighteous influences. And 4. Cultivate a life of gratitude and thanksgiving as expressed through a spiritual walk and celebratory expressions of praise and glory unto God. We can learn much from the chronicles of God's dealings with his ancient covenant people. All of the principles taught by the prophets of God in those days are eternal in nature and central to the restored gospel in our times. We did skip around a bit in Deuteronomy, but I think we learned quite a bit in our dealings with them wandering about complaining. I think that's the thing that stood out to me the most, is how much they complained and how much God doesn't like it. All right, May 22nd, this is Christian Prayer, 1578, from Erasmus. O Holy Spirit of God, who with thy holy breath doth cleanse the hearts and minds of men, comforting them when they be in sorrow, leading them when they be out of the way, kindling them when they are cold, knitting them together when they be at variance, and enriching them with manifold gifts, by whose working all things live. We beseech thee to maintain and daily to increase the gifts which thou hast vouchsafed to us, that with thy light before us and within us we may pass through this world without stumbling and without straying, who livest and reignest with the Father and the Son everlastingly. All right, that was Deuteronomy chapters 30 and 34. And tomorrow we go into Joshua. Oh, we're studying quite a bit in Joshua. We do chapters 1 through 8, and then we skip to 23 and 24. So we will see you then.